Welcome back to another episode of Stack Racks TV, Stack Rack Boxing, whatever you want to call it, right? We talk boxing, but, we do talk from time to time. You catch my drill. The main purpose, the main prerogative, the primary purpose of this channel, right, is for y'all to sit back, relax, Mac Jack, Slack Jack, and Jack. You know what I'm saying? Today I'm going to be talking about a fight that really excites me in the sport of boxing right now, especially at the 160-pound division. Y'all check this out. I'm one of those guys that's a big fan of the sport of boxing, right? It could be two little people getting in there. It could be women's boxing, right? It could be a local youth event and I'm watching, right? For me, boxing is life. I'd rather watch a boxing match instead of a TV show, cartoons, a movie. I'm excited by the sport of boxing. And I feel like, what we deserve as fans is an exciting fight, right? A lot of guys talk that ish, in the build-up of a fight, right? But, when it comes to fight night, we don't see it. I think a fight that we're sure to get a lot of action in is a fight like Janibek and Carlos Adames, right? Assuming Janibek gets cleared, because his B sample will be tested tomorrow, right? Like I said before, I like exciting matchups, exciting boxing events, but at the same time, I want to see some action in there. And I think a guy like Carlos Adames and Janibek is sure to bring fireworks, right? Janibek is one of those guys, little flat-footed, but, he knows how to use his jab. He knows how to throw combinations. He throws combinations hard. Same thing for Carlos Adames. Carlos Adames is a guy that brings the pressure, brings the aggression, right? What I love about Carlos Adames, right, is his level changes, his ability to feint a guy. Every shot that Carlos throw is hard, right? And I think that'll be a great clash, between both of those fighters, stylistically. Assuming that Carlos gets past Austin Williams, right? I believe he should get a chance to unify at the division. Whether it's Lara, whether it's Janibek, if Janibek loses his titles, I think he should be able to fight for those titles. But, I think Carlos really deserves an opportunity to fight a mega fight, especially at this point in his career, right? He has the style, he has the talent, he has the skills to bring excitement to a boxing event, right? I don't have no doubt in my mind that right now a guy like Carlos Adames will beat a guy like Lara, right? Especially with Lara on the decline. Lara right now, an old fighter, just an old fighter with a belt. I believe Carlos Adames can take that belt, and possibly get another unification bout, against Janibek. I think it makes sense. Like I said before, I think he deserved the opportunity, and these guys got to take care of their family. It's not no need having a belt, paying all these fees, and you not as active as you want to be. Unfortunately, bills come every day. Bills is monthly. These guys fighting once a year, it really hurts their opportunity, their ability to be able to take care of their family. Like I said before, Carlos Adames, especially getting a victory over Austin Williams, I think he should get a title shot at the 160-pound division, right? I don't see no reason why he shouldn't get one, especially because, he was robbed in that Hamza Shiraz fight. So like I said before, I feel like Janibek and Adames, them styles right there, we'll be able to get some excitement that we're not used to getting in the sport of boxing. A lot of guys talk that talk on the build-up of a fight, right? And then when the fight comes, we don't see it. Those two styles is sure to clash, and I think it'll be an exciting fight for boxing fans.